On September 2nd, 1666, London was about to face its worst nightmare and almost nobody saw it coming. A single spark ignited in a bakery on Pudding Lane, and within just 4 days it consumed an entire city. We are talking about flames that burned hotter than anyone could possibly imagine or survive. This fire did not just destroy buildings, it erased an entire medieval London from the face of the earth. 13,000 homes were reduced to ash in under 100 hours. Here's the crazy part that historians barely talk about. The Great Fire of London was actually prevented by the very city leaders who allowed it to happen in the first place. No one believed it could spread that far or that fast through a wooden metropolis. The city was a tinderbox waiting to explode, and nobody wanted to admit it. And what comes next will explain why this disaster changed London forever and created the modern city you see today. If you want to uncover the hidden truths behind the worst fire in London's entire history, hit that subscribe button on History Lab right now, because what you are about to hear will completely change how you see this catastrophe and why it mattered so much. The best part of this story is still ahead, and trust me, you will not want to miss it. Let me take you back to September 1666, when London was the crown jewel of England and the most powerful city in the world. The Thames River flowed through the center, with medieval bridges and crowded wooden structures everywhere you looked. London was built almost entirely from wood, houses, shops, theaters, and entire neighborhoods constructed from timber and thatch. This was actually normal for the time, because stone and brick were way too expensive for regular people. The city had zero fire safety regulations, because nobody thought a fire could ever spread across the whole metropolis. Firefighting technology did not exist like it does today. We had wooden buckets and human chains passing water. The wealthy elite lived in fancy stone buildings, while commoners lived in cheap wooden structures packed shoulder to shoulder. Disease spread constantly through these cramped streets because sanitation was basically non-existent in 1666. And here is where it gets really disturbing about how the city was structured before the fire hit. The king's government refused to spend money on basic fire safety infrastructure or even basic building codes. They believed that fire was a natural disaster and that God would protect the righteous from destruction. The Lord Mayor of London was convinced that the city was perfectly safe and prepared for any emergency. Nobody was studying fire behavior or thinking about how to prevent a massive conflagration from spreading. The entire city was like a massive bomb waiting to explode, and history was about to prove it. Now let me tell you exactly what happened on that fateful Sunday morning when everything changed forever. Thomas Farriner was a baker who lived on Pudding Lane in the heart of the medieval city. He went to bed on Saturday night and left his ovens burning, something that was absolutely normal back then. Around midnight, one of his apprentices woke up and noticed that smoke was pouring into the building. The fire had already spread to the neighboring buildings before anyone could even raise an alarm. Within just 1 hour, the entire block was engulfed in flames that shot hundreds of feet into the sky. Wait, this next part shocked even historians because the response was so unbelievably slow and completely disorganized. The Lord Mayor at the time was named Sir Thomas Bloodworth, and he made catastrophic decisions that worsened everything. When they told him about the fire at Pudding Lane, he literally dismissed it and went back to bed. He said that a woman could piss it out and that London was in no danger whatsoever. This single act of negligence allowed the fire to grow for hours without any organized response or preparation. By the time he actually woke up and saw the scale of the disaster, it was completely out of control. The fire spread with terrifying speed because London's wooden structures were connected to each other in tight clusters. Sparks flew from rooftop to rooftop like a chain reaction that nobody could stop or contain anymore. The wind pushed the flames eastward toward the heart of the city, where the most important buildings stood. London Bridge, the only bridge crossing the Thames at the time, became a complete war zone of panic and chaos. People were literally jumping into the river to escape the flames because it seemed like their only option. The heat was so intense that it melted lead and caused windows in buildings blocks away to explode. By Monday morning, the fire had consumed entire neighborhoods and was spreading at an absolutely terrifying pace. The wooden buildings did not resist the flames at all. They fed the fire and made it grow stronger. Ash rained down on the city like snow, and the smoke turned day into darkness at noon. Nobody could escape because the fire was spreading faster than horses could carry people away from the city. Families grabbed whatever they could carry and ran toward open spaces, hoping they could outrun the flames. Children were separated from their parents in the chaos, and thousands died in the panic and confusion. Here is where the story becomes even darker than you already think it is. The wealthy merchants and aristocrats knew they were doomed and started removing their most valuable possessions from the city. They buried treasure, jewels, and documents in the ground, hoping they could retrieve them after the fire passed. But the heat was so intense that it baked the ground solid and they could never dig anything back up. Centuries later, construction workers would find perfectly preserved treasure buried in the same locations where merchants hid them. The king's soldiers were ordered to demolish buildings in the path of the fire to create fire breaks and containment. But this strategy came way too late in the disaster, and the fire had already spread too far. The soldiers were overwhelmed by the sheer number of buildings and the speed at which the fire was advancing. Entire city blocks were demolished, and thousands of people lost their homes in a single day of devastation. The destruction was so complete that people could not even identify which neighborhoods they were looking at anymore. By Tuesday, the fire had crossed the Thames and was threatening the southern parts of the city. The entire business district was now consumed, and thousands of shops, warehouses, and offices were completely destroyed. The economic impact was absolutely catastrophic because London lost its entire trading infrastructure in just 72 hours. Merchants who had built their fortunes over decades lost everything in a single afternoon of chaos and terror. The financial system of England was basically on the brink of collapse because London was the economic heart. And here is the part that really showed how brutal society was during this disaster. Poor people died by the thousands, while wealthy people escaped to the countryside with their servants and belongings. The homeless were blamed for starting the fire, even though it was an accident in a bakery. This led to riots where people attacked innocent vagrants and foreigners to blame them for the catastrophe. The government used the disaster as an excuse to arrest people and blame them for causing the fire. If this story about London's greatest disaster has made you think differently about history and how cities are built, hit subscribe to History Lab right now. We uncover hidden truths about the events that shaped human civilization and changed the world in ways nobody talks about. The greatest stories from history are waiting for you on this channel, and they will blow your mind completely.